Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, the #1 YouTube channel for you to level up your communication skills, learn the art of public speaking, social skills, and personal branding to take your message to the world. If you're new to this channel, make sure you hit subscribe right on below for 3 videos a week on how to level up your communication skills. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the art of journaling. So a while back, I was very hardcore into basketball. I remember any opportunity that I had to play basketball, I would seize it. And I remember during my time playing pickup games, I remember there were a few of my friends who would spend a lot of time stretching. And they were holding a lot of these weird positions and just stretching. A part of me at that time, I thought that was weird. I mean, we're in the basketball court. Why not just go straight to shooting? I mean, what is the point of taking all this time and just holding these weird body movements? So one of the days I asked 2 of my friends who were stretching all the time why they did it. And they responded with, because it makes playing basketball much easier, Armani. You should try it. And I was like, man, I'm not gonna be doing those positions, especially in public. Screw that. So I kept up my routine of just shooting the basketball and diving straight into the game. Well, fast forward a few years, and now I'm in college. And in college, at this point, I am not playing basketball as much. Actually, scratch that. I'm not playing it at all. Around this time, I'm engaged in a workout program called P90X. If you haven't heard of it, it's a 90-day program where you get to choose the body type that you want, and you have 90 days to implement all the workout plans that the program gives you. And they also give you some diet plans as well to get that body. And I remember during P90X, one of the core principles of every workout was that we had to warm up. We had to stretch. So this sort of brought me back to memory lane where I saw my friends stretching in the basketball court. And I thought, well, it's been a few years, but I'm finally going to give it a try. So for the next 90 days, I consistently stretched and then I would do these athletic workouts. Well, once the 90 days were up, I remember for some reason one day I just wanted to play basketball. So I go on the basketball court and no one is there. So I take some time and I start stretching. And then I start shooting the basketball. As soon as I start shooting, a bunch of people show up in the court and they want to play a game. I happily agreed. Dude, I kid you not. Just adding in that little level of stretching improved my basketball game so much. I felt more fluid. I felt much more explosive. I felt much better. I mean, overall, my longevity in the game was much, much better. I wasn't running out of breath nonstop and I wasn't cramping up as much. How the hell did it take me this long to discover the beauty of stretching? And why didn't I listen to my friends when they were bringing it up a few years back? Tisk tisk. Well, the reason I told you that story is because it's going to introduce to you an analogy regarding journaling. A lot of times when we think public speaking, when we think storytelling through verbal aspects, we feel as though that writing is a waste of time. We think of it as 2 completely discrete forces. It's either writing or speaking or writing. There's no similarities between these 2. Wrong. In reality, writing is the speaking just as stretching was the basketball. Stretching helped my basketball game, and writing will help your speaking game. You have to understand, these 2 play a synergistic role on one another. The more that you improve writing, the more that you have the potential to improve your speaking. You understand how the whole process of ideas generation works. You are able to spot when you're rambling, and you become a better wordsmith. So that's why everyone should journal at least for 5 to 10 minutes a day. Now, for today's episode, I'm not going to tell you exactly how to journal, all right? Because that's the mistake that a lot of us make. A lot of us, we want an exact blueprint on how to journal. And until we get this blueprint, we just keep procrastinating it. But when you have too much rules in the beginning stages, what happens, and I've noticed this multiple times, even with myself, is when you have all these rules in the beginning stages, you have the tendency to not journal long term. Why is this though? It's like this because you never had the process of discovering your own voice. The entire purpose of journaling is sort of discover your own style. Now, on my ArmaniTalks.com website, I wrote a blog of a few effective ways to journal, but these were ways that I discovered. I'll post a link in the description box right on below. But overall, after doing it for a very long amount of time, I discovered a few strategies which worked perfectly for me. And I recommend you try out these strategies if you're stuck, but if you were to ask me how you should begin, what I would recommend is you just write anything that you're thinking at that particular moment. And don't focus too much on sentence structure, grammar, punctuations, word selection, etc. Just write whatever you are thinking in the moment. Now, one advice that I do have for you is that I've tried the whole typing method and I've tried the physically writing method. And as of late, I've transitioned more from writing to writing with hand. So I don't type as much anymore. I physically have a journal that I write with a pen. And the reason that I've been doing this recently is because on my day-to-day life, I don't really use a pencil or a pen like that much. I type a lot, I use my phone a lot, but I don't physically write with a pencil and pen as much anymore. So the fact that I haven't done that consistently for a long period of time, nowadays when I do it, you could tell it requires conscious effort. And when something requires conscious effort, it forces you back into the mindful mode. Picture yourself when you were first learning how to drive. You didn't have that luxury of daydreaming and driving because then you would have crashed. You had to be mindful in the moment and see exactly what was in front of you to make sure that you were mastering all of the variables of driving. Well, it sort of happens in the same way with journaling, especially when you're handwriting it. Because if you're growing up in this century, most of you guys aren't using pencil and paper from the last time I checked. So try that out. But if you don't have an access to a journal and a pen at the moment, then go ahead, type. I mean, that part isn't a huge deal. That's just something that I've noticed. But at the end of the day, the main thing that I want you to get out of this video is that journaling is more of a process of self-discovery. Sure, you can use other people's frameworks for inspiration, but at the end of the day, the main goal for you is to discover your own process. And then using other people's frameworks are going to become much more beneficial for you because you've experimented on your own lane. And it's much more fun to figure out other people's tools as well. So that's the main tip. I highly recommend that you begin journaling ASAP because if you want to become a better speaker, this is going to help you out tremendously. And it doesn't matter which kind of speaking field that you're trying to get into. If you're trying to get into comedy, Jerry Seinfeld writes every single day. If you're trying to become a rapper, a lot of musicians write every day. And if you're trying to become a public speaker, then understand that writing is going to play a crucial role. With all that stuff aside though, it's extremely great for your mindset and your emotional resilience. Because I always talk about public speaking being one of these skill sets that requires a lot of pressure. You are in front of a lot of people, and typically when you mess up, all you can do is feel embarrassed and then move on. But that little gap that you have from being embarrassed to moving on, some people require a lot of space during that time. When they get embarrassed, they're embarrassed for a long amount of time. But the tougher that you become mentally, the more resilient that you become emotionally, the smaller and smaller and smaller that gap gets. So if you feel embarrassment for a little bit, and then you're good to go. And writing keeps on helping you reduce that space more and more and more. So ultimately, not only does writing make you a better speaker, but it makes you stronger with your mindset. So give this a try. I mean, you have a few more weeks in 2019. This is definitely one of the habits that you want to incorporate. And you don't just want to do this every now and then. You want to do this every single day for the rest of your life. And I guarantee you, you will feel the benefits in just a matter of a few weeks. So go ahead, begin, and learn the art of journaling from your own voice. If today's video helped you, make sure you drop a like right on below and you share this video on your social media of choice. Thank you, my friend, for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'll catch you on the next episode.